What is up, awesome people of the internet? This has been a very wild offseason, wild transfer portal for the NCAA. And now that everything is almost over, I want to take some time to take a look at the winners and losers of what I'm calling the transfer arms race. And I am going to go team by team of some of the major teams out there, talking about each team and sort of who they gained, who they lost, and kind of how everything is shaking up for them. So let's talk about the Duke Blue Devils and how I think they fared during this transfer portal. But before I get into it, please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Thanks. All right. So this off season, I would kind of call Duke kind of neutral, I would say, on the transfer portal side of things. If not, if I had to say winner or loser, I'd probably say a slight loser, though, they're more neutral than losing for this offseason. So in terms of the losses that they had, of course, we all know that they lost two of their best players. They lost Celeste Taylor, who confirmed that she is going to Ohio State. They also lost Shayeann Wilson, who's a Canadian player that is now headed to Miami. So Celeste Taylor, we all know Celeste Taylor is the best player on Duke's team. At least last year she was. She was the leading scorer. She was also the steals leader. She was their best player, from the perimeter, had the best 3-point shot. She was all around a very, very solid rebounder and a very a solid player when it comes to assists. And not only was she really good offensively, she was Duke's best defensive player. Like she was a great defender. Last season, she was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Celeste Taylor is talented. And she ran Duke's offense. She was the leader for this team. And so losing Celeste Taylor, yes, you're losing her offensive production. You're also losing her defensive production, and you're losing her leadership abilities. So that's a huge, huge loss for Duke. And also, you lost Shayeann Wilson. So Shayeann also was a very, very solid player for Duke. She was a freshman last year, and she won the ACC Freshman of the Year award. She started most of Duke's games, starting, I think it was 29 of 33 games. She led the team in assists. She was, top 3 in scoring for Duke. And again, she was just a very, very solid player. As a freshman, she stepped up. And really did do well for Duke. And now she's leaving, she is going to Miami. And so Duke, right off the bat, you lost 2 really good players for your team. They also lost a 3rd player. They lost Jordan Oliver. So she's not the biggest loss for this team, but she was still a pretty solid player. She started 7 games last season. And she was top 3 for assists for the team. So she's an okay player, not as big of a loss as Shayeann and Celeste, but still, Jordan was a loss for this team. And now Duke comes into next season with only 2 remaining starters. You got Reagan Richardson and Kennedy Brown. So this is a very, very tough situation for Duke because they're a team that hung their hats on defense, and they lose their best defender, and they lose their top scoring, which, it wasn't the best for Duke anyway, because Duke only averaged 64 points a game last year. So they weren't even very good at scoring. But the scoring that they did have, they kind of just walked out the door. And I would say one really good thing for Kara Lawson is that she didn't just lose players. She also got some solid players into play for Duke. So they added Yale center Camilla Imsbo. She is a 5th-year senior. As we all know, Yale does not allow graduate players to continue to play for their team. And so you have to You have to go to another team to finish off your college collegiate, athletics. And so Camilla has left Yale and is now going to Duke. One important thing to know about Camilla is that she is fresh off of an ACL tear. She missed all of last season due to an ACL injury. But before that, she was a very, very solid player. She averaged a double-double. She was also a 2-time All Ivy League player. And, she's very good. But one thing about her is that she is more of a traditional post player. And so this is going to be a change for Duke, because if you saw Duke play last season, they didn't really play traditional post play, where, a player kind of has their back to the basket and kind of it isn't sort of like on the 3-point line, sort of hanging out or further away from the basket. So, Camilla is definitely a player that is most comfortable closest to the basket. And so I think, Duke will have to change up kind of how they play, which, they should be able to do. But it's just a change that they'll have to deal with. And Duke also added sophomore Taina Mayer to the team. She played last year at Boston College. And again, she's a very, very solid player. She started every game for Boston College last year as a freshman. And she was also named an all ACC freshman player. She is a very good point guard. And so I think she'll be to get a lot of assists for Duke. And she is really a solid pickup. Yes, she's still a young player who has a lot to learn. But from what she's done last season with Boston College, I think she's a very, very good pickup for Kara Lawson. And so, you lost 3 players, in the transfer portal. You gained 2 players. And all in all, I think, Duke is a little bit closer to a wash, kind of even in terms of what they have lost and what they've gained. Though, from a leadership perspective, they're missing a leader for this team, and also I think from a shooting perspective, they are still missing a 3-point threat. Because Taina can shoot at 3, but I wouldn't call her a 3-point threat at all. But maybe that's something that she would kind of develop this season. So yeah, that's kind of how transfers have gone for Duke. But not a total loss for them. They have some solid players who are coming in. They are weaker on the defensive end, and they're weaker on the 3-point shot. But other than that, they're okay. I will say that if you're a Duke fan, I would say don't worry about it, because Duke did get 3 of the top 30 recruits to commit to coming to the team, including Jaden Donovan, who is the incoming number 3 ranked player. And so, I don't think, Duke fared that well in the transfer battle. But their future is not a total loss, because you do have some solid freshmen coming in. The hope is that they don't leave. That really is the hope. But we'll kind of see what happens. I think Kara Lawson is still trying to figure out her identity. Of course, yeah, the identity technically is defense, though. You kind of need some really solid offensive play and a real offensive strategy. So I'm really interested to see what Kara Lawson does this season with this team. And yeah, I'm just interested to see if any of the new players that they're getting, whether the freshmen or the incoming transfers, whether any of them transfer next offseason. But yeah, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think. What do you think about Duke? What do you think about the players who left? What do you think about the players who they gained? Do you think it's kind of like a wash? Or do you think they come out of this transfer season complete losers? Let me know your thoughts. You know, I am a player who remembers the sort of Lindsey Harding days of Duke, and so I have lots of fond memories of Duke women's basketball. And you know, I'm waiting for the moment where Duke kind of returns to their good play. You know, but we'll kind of see what happens from here. All right, guys, that's the video. I will be making videos of other teams who, you know, kind of competed in the transfer arms race. So look out for those videos. But until next time, guys, if you haven't liked this video, please like it. Please subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you guys next time. All right, guys. Bye.